Welcome to Breaking the Cycle with Simply Anne, where we confront the pain, expose the patterns, and unlock the power to heal. Real stories, real conversation, and real healing. In this episode, we will sit down with Clara Reyes for an inspiring conversation on creativity, culture, identity, and healing. We will explore Clara's journey of dance studios to policy rooms, her role in preserving Caribbean identity, and how artistic expression can be a force of healing. Conversation that every woman, every creator, and culture worker must hear. Help me welcome Clara Reyes to the studio. Clara, how are you doing?
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you for saying yes and to be here with us in the studio. And this platform is Breaking the Cycle with Simply Ann, and we're going to talk about everything a little bit. But we're going to go straight at it. Clara Reyes,
hmm
who are you?
Oh, wow. Well, I am Clara Reyes. I'm lucky enough to have been in tune with what inspires me, and has always been the arts. So I was lucky enough to have a mother who is an artist, although she didn't make her livelihood as an artist.
Okay.
My mother was a waitress at Little Bay,
Oh, wow.
but she created a very creative environment for me and my siblings. Every day we came home, she would have music, she would do arts and craft with us, she spent time with us, and that gave way to the permission to us following who we wanted to be. And in my case, to be a performing artist. So I've lived my life as a performing artist as young as I can remember. My mother always made it possible for me to be that
Yes.
person. So, who is Clara Reyes? A very simple person that has been able to receive a gift from the Creator to be a talented human being, and then to be able to manifest it, to live it, to work
Yes.
at it,
Yes.
to study it, discipline it, and teach others about artistry and culture and all those wonderful things. So, yeah, a very simple
Beautiful,
person.
beautiful, beautiful. Now, I know you wear many hats as a dancer, educator, advocate, and now also as director of we call it culture youth department, or no, education, culture. Help me there, how it goes
Ministry
again.
of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sports.
Great, 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 great. Um, how how has it been now being as a dancer, being on the studio and doing what you like? And I believe healing comes with it as well, right? How has your journey been on St. Martin? Because you wasn't born on St. Martin, you were raised on St. Martin, correct?
Born in Curacao, but grew up in St.
Yes.
Martin.
How has your journey been on here growing up on St. Martin? And you said, yeah, your mom created a culture, but what about the community? How easy, how flexible was it
Oh,
to
I
help you
think
develop?
I was very lucky in that when I grew up in St. Martin from a very young age. Actually, before coming to St. Martin, I lived in St. Croix and I was already
Wow.
doing arts in St. Croix. Then we moved to Switzerland and I was doing culture and arts in Switzerland. And then we came back to St. Martin. And then right away, I was enrolled at Lenore Hensley Dance Studio. That was on Canagita Street. And then apart from that, there was the Council of the Arts with Josiane Arson Fleming, Anastasia Larmony, Mavis Brooks Solomon, Mr. Vance James, Miss Patricia Scott. So there was a very vibrant scene of very committed and very highly educated persons in the community that understood the value of culture and arts, and they created a platform for us. So growing up in St. Martin, I didn't need or want for
Yeah.
because there was multiple platforms for me to engage. And I mentioned my mom in the beginning, and my mother enrolled me in everything: steel pan classes, dance classes. Every afternoon, we were engaged in an activity: softball, volleyball, hiking. And when all the afternoon sessions were filled out, she enrolled me in night school, me and my sister, and made us do secretarial courses.
Oh, wow.
So my childhood was dense with activities and events to go to. I was part of a youth choir. I was a founding member of the Catholic Youth Choir. I
Wow.
was a founding member of Lollipops, which is
I remember that one.
yeah, a group of singers from Anastasia Larmony,
Yes.
and we did everything from jazz to folklore.
Mhm.
So everything I needed as a child was available to me until I left and came back.
Wow. 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 You were blessed, I will say that.
Oh, St.
You
Martin
know?
was a very special place for children during the 80s, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
there was a group of people that were really committed and dedicated to St. Martin's children, and that's what they did for us.
Yeah, I remember the lollipop because my daughters were part of it also with
Gift Anastasia.
yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes, but we don't see that now. Do you think culture the no, let me rephrase it. Do you believe that it's important to have young people, children at a very young age involved in these type of activities?
Absolutely, because what the arts does, and if you are engaged in multiple arenas of the arts, you get a holistic grounding. You get an opportunity to explore all of your various intellectual capacities. And the human intelligence is not based on just reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yeah, yeah,
Intelligence is, if you study Howard Gardner theory of multiple intelligences, we are kinesthetic learners, we're musical learners, we're spatial learners, we are mathematical learners. So there's about eight intelligences, and some now there's a new development in the intelligences. There's the Hellenics or the spiritual learner. So we are intelligent in multiple ways. Like I sucked at math, but I excelled at languages, you know? And so it's very important to engage a child in any creative activity because they get to explore their personal selves, find
yes,
their
yes,
voice, find
yes,
out who they want to be through the arts, through their expression. And the more you engage your mind, the more you engage your body, the more you engage all of you in various activities, the more you develop as a
yeah,
human being in well-roundedness.
yeah,
It's
absolutely.
it's crucial.
Yeah.
And we tend to, as local people, think reading and writing arithmetic is all there is, but we're denying our children so much
You're depriving
when,
them.
yes, when we limit them to just those three
Yeah,
areas.
yeah, 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 yeah. We see it a lot. And now we have a society all worldwide that is just digital. Everything, and I believe the brain and everything will develop slower or perhaps not even develop to the full potential if
Hmm.
if they lack all these skills. You make me think a lot right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah,
right
yeah.
now, I don't know if you ever watched the show Shark Tank. There's this
Yes,
guy called Mr. Wonderful,
yes.
and he's quite the acerbic person. Like he's quite, and he said if he had to hire, he said years ago, if he had to hire anybody, he would have told you, number one, I need an engineer. Number two, I need an engineer. Number three, I still need an
Oh,
engineer. He changed his mind. I need a creative person. I need a storyteller. I need someone that can pull all of that together. So you need a critical, creative thinker. And that can only happen if you spend time engaging in creative activities that make you explore all the areas of entry points to tell a story. And so it's important.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I believe firmly in breaking the cycle, and help people heal and help people come out of the trauma that they experience because everybody been through some kind of pain, some kind of grief. And do you believe the creative art can help people heal from past trauma, childhood trauma?
Absolutely. Because a story that was told, what that was shared with me from my former director, Miss Lantoinette Steins, my director in Jamaica. There was a time she became catatonic because she bottled up everything inside of her. And literally one day she completely just shut down and became catatonic.
Oh,
And it was through the arts that she managed to find her voice because she kept bottling up everything. And if you bottle up everything,
yeah,
it gets trapped in all these crevices of your body. It's trapped in your belly, it's trapped in your back. It becomes illnesses, it becomes psychosomatic, it becomes all these things. So, and these illnesses, our body is this hotbed of chemicals mixing up. So if you don't release them, if you don't cry, if you don't shout, if you don't scream, if you don't dance, if you don't move, you don't sweat, if you don't express and you bottle that up, that's when we have cancers, that's when we have strokes, that's when we have all these things that curtail us from being the full scope of our humanity. So it's very important that you engage with some level of after Hurricane Irma. The first thing I did, once I discovered that our building was fine, so 2 weeks before any other building opened in St. Martin, NIA was open. And I called all my teachers. I said, I need you guys. I cannot pay you, but St. Martin is going to need us. And
mhm,
within a short time, we had 400 students. We were doing art. We were having kids draw their experience of the hurricane. They wrote poems about the hurricane. They found ways to to express
Yes, to
what
let it
that
out.
felt like. You
Yes.
understand? So it's very important that you engage in some level of expression. You jump for joy. You sing when you're angry. You we are expressive. We express everything. And this everything is not just what happens to us today, it's what is transmitted to us through DNA,
Yes.
through blood memories, through the
Yes.
traumas of ancestors,
Yes.
So we inherit facial features and characteristics, but we also inherit emotional
Yeah. Yeah.
traumas.
Yeah.
So it's very important that you find yourself. And people need to differentiate between artistry and entertainment.
Mhm.
Entertainment is superficial, artistry questions. There's always another question. There's always another
Wow.
question. There's always another investigation. And you deal with a real profound level of truth. So it's very
Wow.
important that you engage with someone that can take you on that journey and not just someone that want you to put on a show. Because
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
then you're just scratching the surface and you're probably hindering proper healing.
Yeah. 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 And to develop yourself. Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, I love that. Learn a lot, instead of just doing one, two, three, backwards jump. Absolutely.
Mhm.
So, what is your perspective on the role of culture in helping youth and women reclaim back their voice?
Culture, culture is a manifestation of our lived experience, and artistry is the storytelling of the culture.
Wow.
So art culture is the artistry of our lives. The artistry of our lives is expressed through culture. It's like a back and forth, both of them coming together. So
Mm-hmm.
the history of you, the history of me is is in this body. Everything of who we are is in this body. And all your experiences. So if you have the opportunity to manifest those experiences in songs, in folk tales, in drama, in movies, in films, in video games.
Yeah.
You get to see yourself reflected back. And usually, artists are the voice of everybody. So maybe you have the experience, but somebody gonna sing the song and say, "Oh my God, that song was written just for
For me.
me."
Yeah.
Sometimes you hear a poem and say, "Oh my God, that is my story." So culture and arts are very integral to the safekeeping of a nation's story. So in other countries, like you have griots, and they will sing the whole story of a village,
Yeah.
from the beginning to the end. And if you meet some old people, I remember once I had this young artist called Lorenzo Gomez, but he calls himself Sigma Defense. So one day I introduced him to Miss Yaya Laurel Richards, and I said, Lorenzo, meet Miss Laurel. She's a wonderful griot of St. Martin. And she said, young man, what's your name? He goes, Sigma Defense. She goes, bye-bye. Who you for? And then he said, Lorenzo Gomez, but I know you. Your mother is this person, married to this person, come from this village, and your father from this person. And she read him from his grandmother right down.
Done.
And he was so shocked. And she's a gifted poet. So culture is the continuity of our story. And artistry is the vehicle with which we tell
I
that
got it.
story.
I got it. Beautiful. Wow. Wow. From one generation to another. Beautiful. I have another question for you,
Sure.
Clara. I am enjoying this. I'm learning so much, and you're a very eloquent speaker as well. Some of your words I have to go back and try to find them. I love that. And that is art. Yeah, that
As
is art.
reading,
Yes.
I love to read. I love poetry. I remember being in high school and just loving our Spanish lessons and learning about, Spanish poetry. And it was great. Is the ability to have a bigger platform to express the full scope of your
Yeah, yeah,
humanity.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, in high school, was it did they see you as weird, as different?
Oh, I
Did
didn't
they?
really care. I was all about myself.
Wow.
I was so full of myself about my art. I had too much things to do. I didn't
Yes.
have no time for Melly and other people. Really and truly, high school was great for me because I was, like I said, my mother had me in everything.
Yeah, yeah. I had a discussion with someone this morning about, the summer and how involved parents are now with the children in summer camp activities, educational activities, not just have them jumping, swimming, and stuff like that. And no, let me rephrase that. You don't see that that so much as before, you know. Parents are so busy.
And that's a detriment to our community
Yeah.
because when I was a child, my mother didn't have to worry about how I was going to get to where I had to go. We walked everywhere. We walked from town, from Coolsack to St. Peter's, you name it. We even used to walk across the pond to get yeah, back in the day, you could walk across the pond
All,
and the divisions. We used to go over the bank. We went
all over.
everywhere. Now parents work all these jobs, and the level of safety has
Yeah.
deteriorated. So parents don't feel safe letting a child go on a bus
Hmm.
or walk the roads alone.
Hmm.
So that's a big detriment to our society that the children are not involved in multiple activities because A, it's either inaffordable or two, the time to get them to navigate to
Yeah.
go to all these venues
Yeah. Yeah.
takes up a lot of time.
Yeah. Yeah. Hi, yeah. So it's a lot, you know. So if we want to change the society, there's a lot of stuff we have to focus on, and it starts with leadership. Huh? But this is not a platform, or tonight we're not going there. That's not a question.
Sure.
Uh, and this is very dear to my heart, you know, as a leader and culture icon. What does it mean to be selected for the Caribbean Salute to Women Award that you have been selected recently?
Well, it was very interesting because you don't live your life looking for accolades. You live your life living your life.
Yes.
And you hope that what you do is honest and truthful and is with integrity to yourself.
Yeah.
So when other people notice it, he's like, oh, okay, you didn't set out to be noticed because you're called to do the work that you're called to do the work. And then so it's really impressive that someone thought that, wow, okay, this lady is doing something of a certain caliber, is impactful, it's touching lives, and we want to recognize that.
And it's global.
So yes, it's quite the honor,
Yes, yes. So
quite the
indeed,
honor.
I got the
And
call, you know, and they asked me to select three ladies for this year that has been putting St. Martin out there on a map with integrity, with leadership, and displaying the full potential. And immediately in a conversation with a few people, about three of us said, Clara Reyes.
oh my
Yes, you know, because you are always so bubbly,
God.
yeah, bubbly, happy, and doesn't matter what comes your way, and you're just quite amazing in what you do. What advice would you give to the next generation of young Caribbean women breaking into the creative and leadership space?
I would say find a mentor. I've always reached out to mentors. I've always surrounded myself with elders in the community. I've always been lucky enough to have them around me.
Hmm.
And I will say, certainly surround yourself with elders and you know who in the community is about something. You can see when someone is destructive, or you can see when someone is about uplifting and
Yeah,
building others. Attach yourself to those people because it adds to you. It adds to you. It makes you stronger, and it becomes an alliance of people doing the same caliber of work. Because for me, my reality is this: in the absence of doing great work, evil will thrive.
yeah,
So you have to be as strategic, as focused, as aggressive about doing good work and surrounding yourself with your team of, let's say, spiritual warriors, healer warriors, people that are about good energy. So you have to align yourself with these people and learn from them and multiply your talents because in them you multiply in the same way evil is multiplied.
yeah.
So you have to look out for people like this young woman here, this filmmaker. I'm always looking out for her because she's a great storyteller.
Yes, she is. We're
She
talking about
thinks she
Latoya.
Yes, it's Latoya Lake. She thinks she get away because I'm watching her and I see brilliance in her.
Mhm.
And sometimes we don't trust in our own brilliance.
And our own local brilliance.
I mean, I don't say local, I just say this is who we are in this platform. And I remember this one song that was so powerful when I was growing up. It was, if I carry the gospel to the last living soul, I won't stand empty-handed at God's judgment throne.
Wow.
And I dare not relax until I've done all he has asked, then I won't leave behind an unfinished task.
Wow.
And my task has always been arts and culture and kidnapping people, children, and bring them into the studio because I know what art brings to the lives of young people. I know what art does for them to find themselves, reconnect with themselves.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know what art does. So I am not apologetic about it. I am bold with it, and I encourage parents to find teachers that create a space of healing through arts.
Wow, I love it. Are you still very active in teaching, in dancing, in everything? Now that you have another high capacity role, which is in the government?
Not as much as I would have done, like, in daily teaching, but I look at my job as the Department of Culture as another platform to do the same things. When I set out to be an artist, I said, I want to create a space where I can share art, teach art, and also have others connect to their own artistry. I did it when I first had Imbali, which was my first
Yeah, I
school.
remember Imani,
Then
yes.
I did it when I created Nia with Arlene, the same platform. And this platform just got bigger each time with each position. So as Department of Culture is the same thing. How do I connect people to art, disseminate art and culture and history and legacy? And I still have the same platform. The mission hasn't changed. The location just have changed,
Change, yes,
creating bigger platforms to reach
absolutely.
out
Yes, I
people with.
understand. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. This is a great conversation. What breaking the cycle means to you, Clara?
Breaking the cycle means to find what is causing the disruption in the flow,
Oh, wow. 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 That's deep. Wow. Powerful. Yes.
you know? And in even within our own bodies, we have
Mm-hmm.
disruptions.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've ever had a cupping session. Cupping session is a massage where they put this suction cup, and what it
No.
does, it goes to a part of your body where you feel there's blockage, and it pulls, and you see all this stagnant blood coming out of the way, and now the blood can flow again. So healing
Yeah.
takes place.
Yes.
So the
Yes.
first time I had an experience was by Ruby Butte. We had a health fair, and I had a completely stiff neck, and I met this man called Stephen Zhang. He's a massage therapist, and he gave a sample who wants to try cupping. And I walked into his chair all like blocked like this, couldn't function. And then he did a cupping and I could move my head freely.
Wow.
So breaking the cycle means I couldn't function holistically because the flow of my own energy was
Yes.
blocked.
Yes.
So, in everything, whether it's in a relationship, whether it's at the job, whether it's with the flow of the body of blood or water in your body, there's something that becomes stagnant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that stagnant means you keep coming against this wall and
Oh,
you
that is
can't,
good.
there's no continuity.
Yes.
So you have to find what that dam is and release it.
Yes.
So then you break that and then you move forward into the next level. So repetitively, there are behavior patterns that we repeat. And sometimes because we're not in ourselves or cognizant to ourselves, we don't realize we're stuck. Other people can see it.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think like if you are able to expose yourself to as many experiences so you can see yourself through different lenses, you realize, wait a minute, I'm doing this same thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it takes courage
Yeah.
to recognize it and courage to say, you know what, I need to find someone that's going to help me break that flow
The
and release
chokehold.
the
Yeah.
flow. And then so I can continue to my next. Otherwise, you be so many times I see people who are adults who are 20, 30, 50, 60, and they've never matured.
Yeah. Never
They got
lived.
stuck.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
got stuck in that place, you
Yeah,
know.
and they don't even realize that. And it is important to live, I mean, we have only one life and we're supposed to live it fully, develop our potential, and become the best version of ourselves so we can pass it on, like you said, building a legacy to the next generation, help others to get better, help others to heal. And then breaking the cycle is more than only for us. Because when we develop and become who God wants us to become, definitely will be able to add value and pass on to someone else within the community. So being in that chokehold, it's not only for you. You definitely are holding back your family, your community, generation, and it's very important that we understand that. And that's one of the reasons I decided this platform, um and culture. art, exactly what you're doing, Clara, is a form of um, healing that we can find ourselves, find peace with ourselves, yeah, and to be able to live with ourselves. And I found what you said was very powerful. If you can leave a message to a woman out there, because you're a lady, um, to a young person out there that they feel stuck, just like you said, and may not have the opportunity like your mother had to put you in dance, to put you in singing, to put you in different activities so you could have become who you are today. What advice would you give that person looking at us, watching this at this moment, or perhaps later, that can help them and guide them so they can become all what they are destined to become?
I'm going to tell you my mother's story because my mother was in a very abusive relationship
Hmm.
and she walked away from that husband with nothing but two children under her armpit and a sewing machine.
Oh,
She walked out of the house. She left everything as it was. And she started from absolute scratch.
wow.
And that is so liberating for me because enough
Mhm.
times I see women hold on to relationship.
Yeah.
I invest so much years in this. That's my furniture. That's my thing. I said, but what are you teaching your
Mhm.
daughter?
Mhm.
They're
Mhm.
seeing you they're seeing you in a position of suffering, but you're holding on to these material
Material.
goods
Yeah.
that are not liberating her and nor you, and you're teaching this person to value something else. So for me, that's one of the greatest gift my mom gave me. The fact that she walked away empty-handed, left a full household behind. She got on a plane, came to St. Martin,
Wow.
and she cut the grass. She had a parent, a gentleman called Emilio Wilson. He was her godfather, and he helped her cut the grass, and build her house from scratch. Sometimes you have to be willing to go broke, walk away from it
Oh,
all.
wow.
Hopefully, in the meantime, you would have surrounded yourself with a good team of people that will support you, but let go.
Mhm.
Don't
Mhm.
don't hold on so tight that you can't move forward.
Yeah.
That would be the thing I would say, because too often I see so many
Yeah.
people holding on to stuff,
Yeah.
of literally stuff,
Mhm.
and that they lose
Yeah.
themselves
Yes.
in
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of young girls. I through how I do my dance classes, I try to teach life lessons versus it's not just about the dance for me, it's about the whole person. So
Yeah.
it's
Holistic.
always the life lessons. What are you learning here? What are you learning from this experience?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I said entertainment and artistry is two different things, two vastly different things. And so I hope for them and I try to educate them. My nieces, I talk to them about different things as well. I'm very frank about a lot of topics. And I said, don't if you can if you can let go, let go.
As quick as possible.
Yeah, don't hold on to it.
Yeah. And the longer you hold on, it becomes harder to let go.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Harder to let go. Clara, thank you for such a powerful and inspiring conversation. You have shown us that culture isn't just inherited, it's lived, shared, and used to create change. Your words on dance is healing, leadership, and legacy, and as a woman, is a strength that touched many, many lives. And showed us also that it can pass on and go to generation. If you have to leave one last message, one last message to our listeners, what would that be?
Well, I'll tell it to myself because I'm always checking myself. Check yourself. Be willing to check yourself all the time. Like really find a quiet space
Hmm.
and be honest with yourself. Be very honest with yourself. One time one of my friends told me something I did, and she says, "Oh, you're just gonna revert back to your default mechanism." That burned me. I was like, "What you talking about?" You're just gonna fall back on what you always do. And from that moment, I had to stop and really check myself, like
Yeah.
because almost she saw a pattern in me that I
Yes.
kept
Yeah.
repeating.
That you didn't notice.
Boy, boy, that pulled me up so fast. And then one time, my sister told me no. I just totally forgot she was gonna say yes about something, and she was like, no. And boy, that like blow up in my head. And years later, we spoke about that moment. And she said it was as hard as her to tell me no as for me it was to
Yeah.
hear it, but it
Yes.
brought us closer. It was liberating for both of us because she established her boundary with me and I learned to respect her on another level.
Boundaries. Yes.
So the whole important thing, I would say, like, really check yourself, like, stop, just stop for a minute
Yeah. Yeah.
and find a quiet space. And there's enough information out there about good living,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
many books and lectures and presentations, and there's enough people to say, let me go to a TED talk about living well, or let me go to a
Podcast.
Simply Anne.
Yeah.
There's so many good people out there talking great truth.
Mhm.
Avail yourself to it. Walk away from the social media, from the frivolousness. Try to give yourself permission.
To live.
Yeah.
To live. Thank you for watching another episode with Breaking the Cycle with Simply Anne. Your past may have started a cycle, but you have power to break the cycle, and healing is possible. Until the next episode, keep standing, keep believing, and keep breaking the cycle.